coming up on the 4-year anniversary of starting my 3-year PhD. I am the George R.R. Martin of writing a thesis. Which could be worse, because if I rush it, I might end up as the HBO. Bit of a snarky joke, I don't even watch the show. Didn't really do much research either, so you know, it all pans out. Yes, I've been in Glasgow for 4 years now, and I've really come to call this place home. I've picked up a lot of the lingo because, you know, people correct me. Being from America. It's not elevator, it's lift. It's not soda, it's fizzy drink. Or, you know, locally, juice. I'm worried about you, Glasgow. And of course, it's not Daily Mail, it's you shove that rag back up the ass it came from, or I will shove it up yours. So, I don't know if my outfit quite reaches the level of our last performance by Bryn there. But I like to think I'm quite formal right now. And I mean it. This is as formal as I get. See, if a tie doesn't have penguins on it, it's a noose. And I'm serious about it. But I need to dress up a little bit. You see, I have actually just been offered to do a job, a postdoctoral research position, at the University of Oxford, where my attire might not quite fit in. Yeah, we'll see. Oxford's got a bit of a reputation, but let's be honest, it's a lot like the rest of the world, you know. There's good people, there's not so good people, like everywhere. The difference is that in the rest of the world, the bad people are only metaphorical pickfuckers. So fun fact, if you can actually remember all the way back to the beginning of the night with the salmon and the fMRI study, yeah, they put they took the pig's head that David Cameron referendumed. They put that in an fMRI too, and it gave the same result as David Cameron. Anyways, moving on. I actually want to spend at least part of the night talking about something other than academia. There's been a lot of jokes tonight about doing research and being in academia as an institution. I want to step to the side a bit and talk about something a little bit detached from academia. That is science. So I'm a marine scientist, and by marine I mean the oceans, and by scientist I mean unpaid research mule. So who wants to learn some marine facts? All right. So when a group of whales get together, we call it a pod. When a group of white men get together, they call it a podcast. I think, but I'm not quite sure that somebody else has told that joke before. But that sort of thing hasn't stopped white men before, so why stop now? Somebody please stop us! Isn't it great when white men like me think that just by making a few jokes on stage we're allies? That's all the work I put in! Ooh, that got dark. Let's get back to the science! Yay! Okay, so I study oceans, right? Now, it's very easy to fall under the risk of thinking, well, the oceans, they're all pretty much the same, it's all salt water everywhere. But there's really big differences between regions of the ocean. For example, just in salinity, like salt content. One part of the ocean may be salty like Theresa May's tears, and then another part of the ocean is salty like Nigel Farage after being milkshaked. And you might be thinking, well, wait, hold on. When we say that's salty, that's a figure of speech. In which I say, 90% of science is arguing about what words mean. What do words mean? That's a chapter in my thesis. What do words mean? So, I specifically am looking at the Arctic Ocean. And in that regard, I am studying the Pacific. The reason for this is, there was a bit of a delayed response there. They were like, yes, studying the Pacific to study the, wait. Don't worry, that happened to me too. But, so, So you might know that at least for the moment, probably not much longer, there is a substance called ice in the far north. And every winter, more ice comes in as water freezes up, and then a lot of it melts in the spring. Now, there's less and less of it as the globe is warming, so looking at the northern Pacific, where ice is kind of retreating north and getting thinner and disappearing, can give us a good idea of what's going to happen in the Arctic. I'm specifically looking at things called phytoplankton. Now, phytoplankton, they're single-celled organisms in the ocean. They do photosynthesis, which means that they take in light and carbon dioxide and make oxygen and energy. They're goop. They're little bits of goop floating in the ocean. Now, whenever you're doing research, people always ask you, okay, situate this in the broader context. What's the importance of it? Why should we care? To which I could say that, well, phytoplankton feed zooplankton feed fish. This region that I'm studying is one of the most important fisheries in the United States economy. But what I really want to say is, how dare you invalidate my goop babies? You see, scientists get extremely defensive and territorial, and there can be a lot of infighting, and it's often drawn over really stupid lines. It's a lot like sports. It's like, how should we make this phylogenetic tree? Maximum parsimony, least distance, fuck. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen. It always happens when I'm imitating an angry scientist. I start speaking complete gibberish, like a lot of scientists with tenure. Maximum, least distance, maximum parsimony, Celtic, Rangers. Either way, I'm going to get stabbed. That's all I know. I'm getting stabbed. It's going to happen. So coming back to my goop babies. So one other thing. So I'm studying specifically in the spring when the ice melts and the light increases and the temperature increases, and then they have these things called blooms, which means that you get a whole lot more of them in the area. So they're my babies in the sense that I watch them grow up every year. But I'm also watching them grow up over time, because there's a thing called evolution. And it happens quite a lot for single-celled organisms, because they're reproducing a lot. And they have a lot of mutation rates. But things are actually a bit different, because there's two kinds of phytoplankton. There's prokaryotes and there's eukaryotes. Now, prokaryotes, their genetic material is just sort of floating around inside the cell, and is really susceptible to genetic material from outside, from other organisms, from other species, floating in and fixing in there. Eukaryotes still have that process, but they've reduced it quite a lot by, well, they built a wall. They got a nuclear membrane, and they built a wall. But don't tell Donald Trump, because he's going to go around saying, see, walls work, I'm made of walls. And now that I've gotten this to Donald Trump, who, as we all know, is well, how can I put this euphemistically? He's a David Cameron. And you might have seen recently, there was an interview with him where he said some things that I, as somebody studying global warming's effects, might have some issues with. He said climate goes both ways. And as somebody with a bit of experience going both ways, let me say no. He said, just look back. 40 years ago we had a tornado binge. Tornado binge? Binge? Oh yeah, man, I fell asleep watching Netflix and I woke up in fucking Oz. Alright. Maybe a couple of things I said tonight were kind of dark, maybe cynical, but that's kind of a front I put on. See, I have a hard exterior, like a turtle. I've got the shell, I've got the hard shell. On the inside, I'm a bit of a softie from all the 5P carrier bags. But I don't want to leave you quite on a depressing note. I don't want to leave you on a sad, but very true note. So I do actually have a bit of hopeful wisdom to leave off of. So, yes, we have fucked up this planet, but it is not too late to stop Elon Musk fucking up Mars.